Dr. Robert Correllas. He is one of my favorite, not only physicians, but individuals in life. He's essentially everything I love about the Grateful Dead's lyrics and world and imagined possibilities and colors rolled into this larger-than-life human being that also happens to be a physician. And the reason he's one of my favorite physicians is because he is one of my favorite people who has somehow unlocked this hidden door to making all things possible by finding and pursuing that which you love the most and bringing that forward into what you do every day in terms of your job and your profession. And it's this positive feedback loop that grows this extraordinary flower, if you will. And he helped me find the answers that I was seeking in terms of how to make dark times a whole lot brighter. And that was simply continuing to find and do the things you love to do and using that positive inspirational energy forward and then creating something new and better and different. So with that said, Bob and I are both at the back nine of our careers, but we want to take our journeys, experiences, and energy and give it to those in healthcare on the front nine of their careers. So let's hear from my friend Bob and see if he inspires you the way he has me over the years.
My name's Bob Correllas, and I'm a family physician. Well, I chose that occupation. My father was a pediatrician, and so he was my role model, and I decided to follow in his footsteps. And we were different. My father was an academic in some ways, and he was not an athlete. He had a very conservative upbringing, and so I didn't emulate Dad in other ways, but in his professional life, in his relationships in the community, he was quite a guy. I started out in practice with Dr. Majira. We opened up the Medi Center together, so we were doing a little bit of everything. It was a walk-in. I developed a practice in family medicine. He had an internal medicine practice, large practices. We did it all. I mean, we did hospital medicine and admitting, as you know, and then a busy office practice. I did infants and the whole gambit. It was great. It began to get a little bit unruly. It grew so much that we really couldn't kind of get our arms around it at some point, but we did the best we could. And then I had an opportunity to go solo. So I decided when Mr. Bizarski expanded his building there to open up a solo practice, it was just going to be better for me in my style of practice. So I took that on and opened up a solo practice right next door, and it went just fine. I had a loose relationship, or I've had a relationship with South Coast, so I'm in their network, but I'm not beholden to Lifespan or South Coast as far as where I refer patients. I'm not employed by anyone, which has worked better for me to be independent. And then 5 years ago, it was just becoming, after 20-some years of you know how it is, the incredible pace and interference with insurance and regulation, I decided to go into this concierge practice, which I don't like the name concierge. There's nothing concierge about me, about Bob Correllas, really. But it was a way and I felt guilty. I felt guilty, like I was kind of quitting. A lot of patients I knew couldn't do it. And so, but I couldn't, I just didn't want to go on with this. And it was okay. I probably could have, but I'd really had enough with thousands of patients. It was just getting tough, really tough. Of course, it's the EMR, it's the electronic medical record, it's the quality measures that we're required as family physicians. It's the referrals, it's the pre-authorizations, it's an endless array of things that just, the administrative duties that take a toll, that create the burnout, really, or that term we're all aware of, and it's real. It's a real entity. Seeing the patients and take care of patients, that's the fun part. Of course, you've got to be, as you know, competent and make sure you've got a handle around results and all those test results and labs and whatnot that you have to review. But the real problem certainly is the system that has evolved over time. It's become a business. It is unfriendly, and it's created a real physician problem, particularly in primary care. It's unfortunate. I didn't see it coming because when I first started, it was pretty good. It was good for years. I mean, we were pretty, autonomous. We had insurance issues, but they weren't anything like today. It was a much simpler administrative management issue, and so it evolved slowly over time, and you don't realize it because as physicians, we're type A. We say, all right, okay, I can take that on, a little bit more of this or that or the other. Okay, I'll check that box. I'll do this, and then before you know it, you're just smoked. You're just spending more time on things that you find just not beneficial to the patient necessarily. So that happened slowly, and I think it's accelerated in the last 5 years. I'd say it's really gotten bad. And so it's mostly about the patient, but it has to be about the physician too. And so I am much more relaxed. I have balance. Despite the hectic years, I still tried, and I did. I mean, I worked out, I surfed, I played hockey, skied. I never let go of those things, but it did compress. It compresses things, and you're in medicine, so you have to be realistic. But you don't want to give those things up. I married a woman who is very active and fit, and so she's really nurtured that. But with this new practice, it's awesome. I have time, I have joy in medicine again. I'm having fun, and I'm busy. I'm very busy, but it's just my patients are satisfied, and I think I did a pretty good job in the old model. But and people give you a pass. They know when they see the waiting rooms filled. But what other profession are you expected to solve complex issues with when the stakes are high? 12 minutes. You got 12 minutes. Then you got to move on and move on and move on. That's a recipe for problems. And so now, I don't have any excuses. I'm able to get through my day. I spend plenty of time with folks, and there's balance. I have a much more balanced life. I think now, Joe, it's not so much the medicine, it's the relationships. It sounds corny, but It's true. It is. It's sort of why we do it. And of course, the medicine, the science is interesting, and it keeps one motivated and engaged. But for me, it's as I get to the end, it's being part of the community and having these relationships with my patients who are my friends, my electrical contractor, my attorney, whatever. Everybody is out there, and I've been blessed to have the privilege of taking care of folks, and hopefully I've done a decent enough job. That's all that really matters. Gee, I really have very few regrets. This has been a phenomenal run for me. I mean, it just has. I was lucky I just feel fortunate to be a physician. It's been amazing. It has. It's been, the risk, of course, and the decisions we make, and of course it doesn't always go the way you want it. And so I've had those experiences, and it's hard. You have to accept your mistakes. I think I want to continue a while longer. I want to have grandkids, all right? I don't have any great professional aspirations at this point. This is enough for me. I've loved it, and I want to continue to hopefully contribute to the community in some other ways, and stay healthy, enjoy life, and have a good life. However, how do we define that? What is a good life? And so, your name, your maybe some virtuous component to that. I think as you get older, and not to be pessimistic, but as you realize, I'm on the back nine for sure, and so want to be sure there are no regrets. I think again it's the relationship, the doctor-patient relationship, that is suffering for reasons that are many. Again, for me or for my colleagues, I think it's time. It's the business constraints, and so that's a sacred. That's the unit of. That should be the central component of medicine. Again, it sounds corny, but it has to be. And so we're just becoming. It's too impersonalized. But it's a reflection of society. This sort of this pace, the haste, the loss of thoughtful kindness. Even the front staff. They're so stressed. In many instances we've lost the empathy, and so we've got to find that again, and that's going to be a challenge in the present system of impersonal interactions and the business model that has taken over the profit, the bean counters are running the show pretty much, and I get it. Somebody's got to pay for it, but we've got to do better.